Hi bakers. So in this video, I'll be talking about costing and pricing. So basically finding out how much it actually costs to make your cake and then how you should sell it. Okay. So most of the times people get confused because, or maybe bakers are lazy and what they do is that they look at somebody else's price and then they set the price and they don't realize that they're making a loss by doing that. So you need to realize you actually have to sit down and do the costing and pricing to find out how much it actually costs you to do this. Please do not be lazy. You can do it like once every couple of 3 times a year, just so that you've made sure that you're making profit. So when you're doing business, the best thing is to have knowledge, and the best thing to do is to sit down and do your costing and pricing. Hi everyone, my name is Maureen Bilha Kamari, founder of Baking with Amari. I'm also the founder of Chiffon Cakes by Amari, which is a bespoke bakery. So in this session, I will not be actually doing a costing and pricing. Number one reason is that I've done a few videos, which I'll be linking below, that kind of break down how to cost. And number two, we have a cake pricing bundle that I truly think that you should just get instead. The cake pricing bundle is basically an ebook, a spreadsheet which has formulas you can use, and a video where I explain how to use a cake pricing bundle. If you want to step it up, we actually have a 90-day online course that tells you or shares how to do costing and pricing for 4 bakery niches. This is a very intensive topic, so that's why it's very hard to cover it in a YouTube video, which is why I just tell you to just invest, get the cake pricing bundle. It's only 200 shillings or $2, or invest in the class, which is $15 or 1,500 shillings. Okay, I'll be linking that info below so you can check it out. I just kind of wanted to get that out of the way, but I do want to share with you guys important information you need to know. Now, when you look at baking, baking is not like a retail industry where you buy something, you add a percent and you sell it. Realize that baking is a manufacturing business, which means you're going to buy raw products, you're going to bake them, so you're going to do stuff and add things, and then it's going to become another product, which is why our costing does tend to be a little bit tricky for most people, especially if you don't like math, like I don't, okay? But it's important to do the math. So you need to realize that first thing you have to do is cost, and you need to find out 2 costs: direct costs and indirect costs, right? So you're wondering, what are direct costs? Direct costs, to put it simply, without these things, there will be no cake. So without the ingredients, without the baker, without, maybe the premise, without the carriage, transport to take the ingredients from where you bought them to your bakery, without those costs, there would be no product. So those are direct costs. They're directly related to you baking the thing that you're baking. Okay. Some of these are also called overhead costs, like costs that without these costs, or these costs have to be paid no matter what, you have to have these costs to actually find the price of the cake. Now, the interesting thing is that bakers will actually account for direct costs. They just don't account for the next thing. So a lot of people have done costing, but they've only done the direct costs. Realize that your business, once you start selling and you decide to be a business person, you have what you call indirect costs. These are things that are not needed to bake, but they're needed for your business to keep going. Some people call them operational costs, right? But they're indirectly related to your cake business. So this is everything else, right? So this would be, even if it's not paying for the baker, it would be paying for the writer, paying for the person who's maybe assisting you. It would be payroll. Basically, it could also be airtime, anything that has to do with marketing and sales for your business. If there's any software used, like for your website or for your accounting, if there's cleaning agents and detergents, right? All those detergents used to clean, the cling film you're using, all those other things that you're not tracking, those are indirect costs. And the reason why bakers struggle is that they don't add these costs in there, but then they don't make money in their business. And they're always wondering, why is my business not making money? That's because you haven't added those operational costs in there. You need to make sure you're doing that so that you're actually making some type of profit. Now, the other thing that people tend to forget, even people who do the indirect and the direct costs, is that once you sit down and you have these costs, there is factors you have to consider. And again, I cover this in an online class and I cover this in a cake pricing bundle. You need to know, what is your minimum order per month, or what are your minimum sales per month? For example, if I sell forest cakes only, I need to figure out how many forest cakes do I need to sell per month so that I'm able to do my costing properly. Now, we call these making assumptions, but we have to make these assumptions as business people. What you can do though is that you don't price and leave your pricing and never go back again. You do pricing, you go back 6 months, and you price again. The reason being, maybe when you were starting your business, you were only selling 3 forest cakes a month. But now that it's 6 months later, you're busier, you're selling 10 forest cakes a month. So that means it is cheaper to produce your cakes because you're making more cakes a day, a month. So what happens with people is they ignore this particular information completely. And that means you might be costing and pricing, but you're doing it incorrectly or inaccurately. So you need to know what is your minimum order or what are your minimum sales per month so that you can do accurate costing and pricing. And then the interesting thing is that you now have to make sure every month you're making those sales. If I did costing and I did costing saying that I'm making only 10 cakes a month, then I start selling 3 cakes, maybe 5 cakes a month. 10 months down the line, if I have never made 10 cakes in a month, it means I am actually selling at a loss. So you need to make sure when you do your costing, you consider how many cakes you're selling per month. The reason this is every aspect or every expense has to be put into each cake. So if I'm being paid 10,000 shillings, every cake, if it's 10 cakes that I'm making per month, has to pay me like 1,000 divided by 10, right? So that means each cake has to pay me 100 shillings, right? So let's say that I still need to be paid 10,000 shillings a month, but I'm only selling 5 cakes. That changes the cost of that cake, correct? Because now I have to charge the labor or the amount for the baker as 200 per cake, not 100, right? But if I didn't adjust, it means that I'm selling my cake at a loss and I'm still paying the baker 10,000 shillings. I hope that makes sense. And comment below if it does. Have you included the minimum orders per month in your costing? Comment below. Do you have a minimum? Do you even know how many cakes you need to sell per month to actually make profit? You need to be aware of that math. So that's something that I find bakers completely ignore, even if they tell me they've done accurate costing and pricing. Now, once you cost and put all those things into consideration, the minimum order sales per month, indirect and direct cost, you now have to go to the pricing, right? You now have to work on, okay, how much am I going to price? Now, again, this is a very intensive topic, but pricing has a lot of factors. You have to look at what niche I'm in, which location am I in, what's the size of my bakery, do I have a lot of people working for me? There's all that. And then finally, there's something called pricing strategies. How am I going to price? Is it going to be psychological, premium, budget pricing? What is it going to be? I'm going to link a video that I did in our other channel that breaks down 6 types of pricing strategies you can use as a baker that's very in-depth, that's really going to help you. So I hope you've understood the framework of how to do costing and pricing for your cakes and the very important things you need to consider. So every time you see some bakers, and some bakers will be like, oh, your cakes are very expensive. No, I've just included everything that I'm supposed to include, and I have added profit that I want to make for my business. Have you done the same? Do not look at other people's prices. You should only do it to see if you're in the niche and you're in the right range in a specific niche. But you shouldn't copy paste a price just so that you can sell. That's really hurting your business and you're not going to grow that way. So I hope that has helped. Please make sure to either get the cake pricing guide or sign up for online class. Please watch the next video and I'll see you guys in the next video, and make sure to like and subscribe.